Hey all, I'm Miss Sandoval. For those that don't know, I am going to be recording a video today kind of showing you how to write a check for our next activity for this upcoming week for Tuesday and Wednesday. And we're kind of sharing this video, all of the civics teachers. So if you don't know, I'm Miss Sandoval. If you're like Miss Sandoval, you're my teacher. Why are you introducing yourself? Because I can. So you should be able to see my screen. On here is this check writing activity. And I'm going to apologize beforehand because usually we would have this in class, obviously, person to person class. And in my class, I would give this out to my students and have them practice writing checks, like physically writing them out. And then once we got comfortable writing checks, we would actually write a check for $1 million to a teacher. You know, obviously, it's not a real check, but we would practice to continue writing our checks. And you would pick like your favorite teacher, you'd write a check for $1 million, and you would hand it to that teacher, and then they usually hang it up somewhere behind their desk or they have a spot in their room. So you might have seen like teachers with these checks for $1 million that old civics students have written them. But because we're not meeting face to face in class in person, we're going to have to do this online. So in your OneNote notebooks, depending on where your teacher told you to find your things, this will be uploaded to you. For my students, it'll be in financial literacy, and it'll be titled 421 because that's the beginning of the week. And then this worksheet gives you 3 scenarios in which you would write a check. So the first one is when you're buying tickets for an upcoming school event. With the check payable to your school for $42.50. The next one is you're paying rent for $7.50, and then of course contributing to a disaster fund with a check payable to the Red Cross for $5, which right now is a perfect time to contribute to a disaster fund, right? Because we are in the middle of a pandemic. Before I start, a couple reasons why we would write a check. I still write them, not as often. I remember when I was little, my mom would get all her bills and she would open them and spread them out on the table. And then she would sit there with the checkbook and just start writing them. And it was insane. Like she would go through books of like checkbooks, just go through them. And then she'd put the check in the envelope and we'd put a stamp on that envelope and she would like send it in. Nowadays, we do online banking. So like I make basically all my payments online. I rarely write a check. In the instances that I do, it's usually because it's safer and more convenient. And what I mean by that is that I don't carry a whole lot of cash with me. I'm very used to just carrying my debit card. I have a lot of students who come up to me and try to sell me things for fundraisers. Like they'll try to sell me cookies or popcorn or a cheesecake for band. And in that case, they're usually asking for, more than $1, $2, $3, $4. So if I want to buy a cheesecake, but I don't have money, I don't have cash to hand them, I can hand them a check. So I usually write a check to the school and give them the check. Another reason why I would use it is I buy a lot of cheesecake every year from band, a lot, usually about 7 or 8 cheesecakes, which adds up to over $100. I have a big family. So what I do is I write a check out for $100 and hand them a check for $100 in the name of the school because it's safer for me to hand them a check than a $100 bill. The thing with checks is that if you lose a check, you can call the bank and cancel it. But if you lose cash, it's lost forever. So it's a little more safer. It's more convenient. It's a skill that you really should know. It's one of those things that like, oh, I wish they would have taught me in school, but they never did. We're about to go through the process. All right. So I'm going to scroll down. In mine, it's a PDF. You can see I already started filling out some of the information. I'm going to use the first check. First things first, you're going to write your name. I wrote mine. And you're going to write your name on all your checks. Usually these are like pre-printed checks that you get. All of my checks have my name and my address. All right. Now the first check that we're writing is going to go to the school for $42.50. So I'm going to write on here, the date is 4/21/2020. Paid to the order of, this would be the payee who's receiving the money, Morton East High School. And then here's where it gets a little complicated. Bear with me. So when you're writing these out with a pen, because you should write every check with a pen, you should write them out as close as possible to that dollar sign. Obviously, because I'm not writing these out, I'm typing them just for the sake of showing you how to write a check. It's not going to be close to that dollar sign, but you want to write inside that little box the dollar amount. So I'm going to write $42.50. Afterwards, I'm going to put a line that goes all the way to the end of the box. The reason I do this and the reason I want this 4 to be as close to this dollar sign, which again, I cannot do just because I'm writing on a PDF, but this would be right up against that dollar sign, is because you don't want to leave space for somebody to add a 1 to change the check to $142. And you also write a line over here because you don't want to leave any space for anybody to be able to add an extra 0. So if you add an extra 0, then that changes to $425. So you want to be really sure that it's really up against that dollar sign. And then after you write your dollar amount, you write a line, like you just straight through. All right. Down here, we have to write the full dollar amount. And we're going to write it out in words. So I'm going to write 42. Here's where it gets kind of goofy. I would not write $42 because the dollar word is already listed here. And I wouldn't write out the word cents. When you're writing checks, you would write out your dollar amount, and then the cents, you write them out differently. You would write, and it's 50, so I would put the number 50/100. And then I would write a line, right, here we go, a line straight through. And this looks really goofy, but that's 42.50. $42.50. If it was, I like crafting, so I get Joanne emails. If it was 22 cents, you would write and 22 over 100. Let's say that there's no cents. Like, let's say it's for $5. You would just write the word 5, and then just put your line through. You don't have to write the word dollars. See, I never wrote out dollars or cents. 42.50 over $100. Afterwards, down here, there's this memo. The memo is just kind of for you to write what the check was for. I think this was for a dance, right? Let me scroll up. It just says a school event. So let's pretend it's a dance. So I'm going to write the word dance. And then here is where you can get real fancy. This line here is asking you for your signature. So, my signature is much nicer when I write it in pen, but you would sign it and that's it. It would go to Morton East High School. Hopefully this was a little helpful. You have 2 more blank checks down here and you have 2 more scenarios, right? Remember, if you don't have any cents, if it's just 750, you can just write the word 750. If it's just $5, you can just write the word 5. You never have to write the word dollars. It's already provided here for you. Okay, guys, hopefully this helped. Let me know if you have any questions. Let your teachers know if you have any questions. If you're one of Miss Davila's kids, you can reach out to any of us. Our emails will be listed in her Teams page. All right. Bye, guys.